hadn't won a title for 26 years, and you'd come so close the season before. Leeds pipped you to it in the end. So how much pressure was there on this United side going into this season?
I mean, we kind of felt confident that year because the year before that we beat Barcelona in UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. And they had a very good side, Barcelona, at the time. And there was a kind of different kind of mentality when we got back for that season in 92, 93. We kind of felt if we could beat Barca, we could beat anybody. And you could sense it in the players and the way we conducted, the way we trained, you know, the mindset and everything about it. So, but when we got to I mean, 'cause it's fair to Chris, Norwich team led all the way. They led till March.
Yeah.
And our last 12 games, we won the last 6 games that season to win the title, basically. But there were nerves, you could sense it, but we had big characters. You know, when you've got big characters around you, they kind of settle you down, especially the young players like myself and, you know, people like Keeney and that. So, but it was great to win it. I mean, it was kind of probably massive because it was the last season for Brian Robson. He retired after that, and I think about a month later, Sir Matt Busby died. So it was very important that we kind of won the title then.
And Chris, Paul mentions there your Norwich side. It's quite incredible, really, that you were even in this title race because the season before you'd only just stayed up by around 3 points. Yeah. Mike Walker was promoted from youth team manager to the first team manager. So how did you feel coming into this new season with a new manager and having just stayed up? I bet you never expected to be in a title race.
Absolutely not. We'd finished 18th, 3 points above the relegation places. Favourites for relegation this season. Mike Walker had stepped up from the reserves, and we'd sold Robert Fleck, I believe, to Chelsea. But then we played Arsenal on the first game of the season. You know, famous back five: Seaman, Adams, Bold, Winterburn, Dixon, and we were 2 down at half-time, and we're thinking this could be 5 or 6.
It's a brilliant comeback, wasn't it?
Yeah, I started up front. Mike Walker hooked me off 15 minutes into the second half, put Mark Robbins on. Norwich ended up winning the game 4-2. What was unusual about the season for us is we lost heavily in a number of games, lost 7-1 to Blackburn, 5-1 to Spurs. We had a negative goal difference, but we found a way to win. The difference between us and Manchester United and Aston Villa, though, no pressure at Norwich City to play. I don't think that at any stage during the season we actually really believed we could win the league.
Sorry, Jeff, I think there was a time where we went to Carrow Road and I could sense in your fans that you felt you had a chance of winning it. You know, so for you to say that, I didn't see that in the team.
I didn't know you're a good reader of Norwich fans.
Yeah, I was, to be fair, because we beat you 3-1, didn't we?
Yeah.
If I remember rightly.
Yeah. We'll see.
I think you had a hand in a couple of the goals.
We'll see some of those goals in a moment. Let me bring Dean in here, because talking of the confidence going through this season, you had an experienced dressing room, an experienced manager. You must have felt like one of the favourites with Aston Villa to win it that year.
I can remember a few things, but the main thing was I thought we were going to win it. The way we were going, we had some great results. We had some good players in our team, like you said, experienced players. Had Ray Houghton, Paul McGrath, Gary Parker, and I obviously had a partnership with Daly and Atkinson up front. And he got injured, I think 6 games to go, which didn't help us. I remember that happening. I remember Steve Staunton's goal at Old Trafford.
And the stanchion, yeah.
And then I think Cantona scored an equaliser right in the last minute. I remember Steve Bruce scoring 2 headers against Sheffield Wednesday when Brian Kidd ran on the pitch when he was celebrating on his knees.
I actually gave the penalty away in that game.
Did you?
You did?
Yeah, I actually gave the penalty away against Chris Waddle, and John Sheridan scored it. And I'm thinking, if we don't win this game, that's the end of it. No, it was, because it was that important, that game.
Yeah.
You know.
That was where the old Fergie time started, wasn't it? And
yeah.
I mean, there was yeah.
It was 97th minute.
Manchester, every week you'd get extra time, wouldn't you? You'd see how long the United games, they were like 102 minutes. Our games
was only because people enjoyed watching us. That's what it was.
It's incredible.
You know.
The thing is, Ince, is Manchester United didn't have a good start to the season, did they? I think even as late as April, I mean, you were still struggling to pick up those points. But what a difference Eric Cantona made when he came in. Yeah,
I think he was probably the final piece to the jigsaw. I think we had a very, very good side. We had the nucleus of the team, but we were just missing that final piece. And I think, you know, to get him for £1 million from Leeds, you know, was an absolute steal. You know, he was a Man United player. He walked in with a presence. He was 6'4". And he brought calmness to the team, you know, when we was under pressure. And you're right, we didn't have a good April. But as I said, we won the last 6 games to win the title. More
Best ever French player in the Premier League?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
A minute ago, you changed your mind on that. Let's talk about that win at Carrow Road, because this was really the big victory for Manchester United, wasn't it? And of course, Paul, you mentioned you had a hand in one of the goals. Let's take a look at the 3rd goal, because you were 3-0 up at half-time, and you were involved in this one with a great run, weren't you?
I can't remember. I need to see it again.
It was a great run, actually.
Was it?
I'm sure you remember it. I'm sure you remember it. We'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah.
Here it is now. Have a look at this, Ince. Great run from you. Linking up with Cantona as well to finish this one. Remember it now?
Unselfish.
Yeah, unselfish, yeah. You know.
Oh, it's a great ball.
It was a great ball. No, but just to say, it was a massive, massive game, because I sensed that Norwich kind of felt they could actually have that belief they could go and win it. I need to believe that. But that was a pivotal game for us. It really, really was. And I think after then we got a lot of confidence from that game.
Do you know, you talk about counter-attacking now. That's that team that you were in with Kanchelskis, Giggs, and then Cantona added a bit of class, and your legs joining in. On the counter-attacks, you were deadly.
Yeah, we were.
I think that was the game which destroyed us at Norwich, because the next game we went to Spurs and we got hammered 5-1, and you know we sort of lost belief because we'd beaten Aston Villa. I think the game previous to the United game 1-0. I was centre half. I marked you out of the game.
To be honest, I can't remember you.
Let's talk about actually winning the title now, because it was defeat at home to relegation struggles Oldham for you, Dean Saunders, and your Villa side that really sealed the fate for United as the champions. So, Paul, tell us about the atmosphere in the city after delivering this first trophy after 26 years.
You know what? I kind of felt that we kind of won it by default, because we wanted to win it by us playing. You know, I remember watching, it was a night game, wasn't it? At Aston Villa, and I think Tony Henry scored, was it? Tony Henry?
Yeah.
He scored.
Yeah.
And we were all sitting in the front room watching it. So once it was all over and we was like champions, it was kind of a bit of anti-climax because we were all sitting indoors. But then all the phones started going and we went around Bruce's house, all got levered, all got smashed. And, it's only when we got to the stadium I think we were playing Blackburn on the next day, and the fans outside, the atmosphere, I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. And
did you feel the pressure that season, though? Bearing in mind you'd won it for 26 years. The onus, expectation on United.
Yeah, I think we felt the pressure. I think the last 12 games showed that we felt the pressure. But we had the right people around us. You know, when you've got Brian Robson and Mark Hughes and big people like that, then of course you felt the pressure. But that's what you want. You want pressure. If you don't feel the pressure, then you're not going to perform. That's what I think. You've got to feel a little bit of nerves and pressure. But yeah, we did feel it. We felt they were right up our tails. But when we won it, it was a sigh of relief. And it was about returning in the next year.
Great pictures as well. Love looking back at that. Great memories from you guys. Thanks for now.